Next speaker, it's my pleasure to go now from this 5,000 level feet of what happens in the world of AI researchers, or where the energy is going, to zoom into Serbia and the milestones and strategy milestones and road ahead. So it's my pleasure to invite Slobodan Marković. He is the special advisor for digital technologies at the UN program for development. Digital advisor, you're a digital advisor. But you're in person here with us. Yes, I am. We're very grateful to have Slobodan was earlier at the earlier conference this morning for coming to replace a previous speaker as well. You have it, so the floor is yours. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. So asked me to provide an overview of the situation with AI development in Serbia over the past several years, and also what is the current situation and what might happen. So for those who have been following the situation in Serbia, you may have noticed that digital transformation was a top priority of the government since approximately 2017. So that resulted with some real tangible changes, in a sense that when a topic has political backing, things like legal changes happen, funding gets provided, and things just start rolling. So we had that momentum, and some really notable things were implemented here in Serbia, which are not that common for our region. So I could say that in the sense of trying to make a connection or hook up Serbia to this global AI revolution, we really started well. But we will see that this momentum is not guaranteed, and that it might that we might lose this momentum. So the story actually starts, or maybe not. Yeah. So the story starts in 2019, when Serbia actually adopted first AI strategy. So it was a bit awkward time. It was before COVID, and it was long before ChatGPT, long before this thing entered mainstream. And this strategy had some interesting and forward-looking initiatives that were implemented just because of the fact that in the office of the Prime Minister, you had people who were dealing with these things on a daily basis. And of course, they had the funding. So this thing doesn't seem to be working. So, Oh, yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I turned it on. Okay. So, yeah, but for some reason it doesn't want to display all the pictures. Doesn't matter. There was a picture of this government data center. It looks like this. So in the government data center that was also built in the city of Kragujevac, it's actually the largest regional facility of this kind. There is this rack of machines with GPUs, and it looks like this. And that was installed in 2001. So the national AI platform in the city of Kragujevac. So the next thing, which was also foreseen by this first strategy, was the establishment of the National AI Institute. And it was established in 2021 in Novi Sad. And I mentioned this as you won't find many countries, especially in our region, which has this kind of like a center of excellence, pulling together more than 40 or 50 researchers in this area, many of whom came from either the top US or UK universities, global universities, or from the global corporations like NVIDIA. Next, in 2023, the government adopted a document which I really like emphasizing because it's really practical in difference to many other government documents, which are usually boring and, not directly applicable. So this one is actually useful. And I encourage, if you're dealing with AI, I encourage you to take a look at it because it provides a kind of like a checklist of things that you need to have in mind when you're developing AI systems. It was also based on UNESCO's framework for responsible development of AI. Unfortunately, those are the ethical guidelines. So it's not the mandatory document, but it's better than, having nothing. Also, some things happening in the meantime on that a thing which I consider really important, but often overlooked. At the level of the European Union, you have initiatives like AI Act, which regulates AI in general. But the fact is that the sectoral implementation of AI will need to be regulated at the sectoral level. So, for instance, the rules about AI application in medical devices is going to be regulated by the institution in charge of medical devices, which is called ALIMS in Serbian. So the rules around autonomous vehicles are going to be decided by the Commission for Traffic Safety. Or the rules for drones flying around will be decided, for instance, by the Civil Aviation Directorate. So basically, all those sectoral rules will need to be adjusted as well in the years to come. So one of those first attempts to regulate this in Serbia was in 2023, when with the traffic safety legislation was amended actually to allow autonomous vehicles on Serbian roads. Unfortunately, it only covered testing of autonomous vehicles on Serbian roads. So you can register a car which is autonomous and use it for testing on Serbian roads, but that's it. So if you want to commercialize that, it's still not covered by the law. But I'm mentioning this because someone will eventually need to start dealing with these issues. I also don't know why this rendering is so horrible of this PDF, but I cannot do anything about it. It certainly didn't look like that when I sent an email. This was an event that was organized in 2024 in Belgrade, and due to all these advances in artificial intelligence, in a sense that Serbia did something with regards to national infrastructure for AI, the support to the scientific community with the National Institute, with having this kind of high-level political support for this, it did enter the GPI, the Global Partnership on AI, which gathers basically the global leaders in AI. And there was even a summit in Belgrade which took place in December 2024. And finally, during all these years, some notable, or I would say a number of notable AI use cases in the public sector were initiated. The main problem with those is that we don't have many of them working at scale or every day, or in a daily production. So one of the systems which uses AI extensively and that everybody uses but maybe not thinks about that is the Hawkeye system, the Oko Sokolovo, which is checking for illegal parking, and that is like computer vision. So it's AI. So it's in use, it's in everyday use, it's right behind us, or in front of us, or around us. The second thing is you will see the chatbots. Or for instance, on e-Uprava.gov.rs, you will see the chatbot. So it's a chat platform, it's a generative AI, it's in production, it's being used daily. Also, some initiatives developed by the AI Institute were, for instance, started, like, for instance, mammography for diagnostics of mammograms in Serbian clinical centers, and also for traffic safety near the railways. It is also computer vision. So as you can see, it's mostly computer vision applications. But unfortunately, not many of them are seeing daily production. And in the meantime, we lost some of this like political momentum. So we don't have this like AI team at the Prime Minister's office. So no one is like dealing with this on a daily basis since, I would say, at least past 10 months. So the only institution which does have an AI team is the Office for IT in the Government. And they are, among other things, maintaining the infrastructure in Kragujevac data center. So those are the problems. And what's next? So what's next? So the first thing that you should know is that we have a new strategy on AI, which was adopted in January this year, and it's a decent document. I mean, these are just the most important items which you can find in the strategy. And I mean, you know, these things make sense. So we need a legal framework for AI. We need to support scientific activities around AI. Of course, work on data infrastructure. And of course, applying AI in priority areas. So I mean, you know, someone could say, you know, we need some other priorities, but I mean, I would say the priorities are fine. The other thing is, you know, we don't have the action plan for this, and we don't have like secure funding for this. So that's a challenge. Another thing is the thing that we did at UNDP. We wanted to see how the ecosystem look like, you know, who is dealing with AI in Serbia on regulatory level, in civil society, in institutes, in academic community, in companies. What is the level of maturity of their outputs, products, how many educational programs on AI there is. So we made this AI ecosystem of Serbia, which we presented on Pogon conference a couple of weeks back. You can have a link on this. Look up my LinkedIn or Twitter page and just search S. Marković. And you will find a link to this. This data set is completely open. So you can like take the underlying data set and just play with it. It's a Google Sheet. So you can see it in this visualized form as a graph. But basically, you can just take the Google Sheet and like, you know, do whatever you want with it. Also, as you might remember, our president was really, is a good friend with the French president. So they agreed on like, I don't know, Rafales and like everything else, like, I don't know, the nuclear plants. Yeah? But a small fraction of these negotiations included also a French loan for AI. And this loan is pre-approved for approval next year in the parliament. So it's a part of the state budget for 2026. I know that not many of you are reading actually state budget, but it's there. And so this is like a targeted loan for AI. And out of those 50 million euros, 36 million euros are supposed to be spent on NVIDIA's GPUs, basically, that will be put in Kragujevac data center. So ratification is expected, I don't know. If we will have parliament, when we will have parliament, I don't know. But I mean, it's in the budget for the next year. Also, 2 expansions of the infrastructure in Kragujevac are scheduled. So the first one was 5 million euros, and that was already paid. So it's currently being installed in Kragujevac. And the second tranche is the one from the loan. And when all of them get installed in Kragujevac, Serbia will have somewhere around 1,000 GPUs, which is really not a lot. I mean, if you recall, Meta or Amazon, they have, you know, something on the order beyond 250,000 GPUs for training like their really large models and providing services globally. But we generally need this infrastructure for training smaller models for our local purposes, and of course for applying AI in some really localized cases where you don't want the data of Serbian citizens to go to California for processing. So, I mean, it's a decent infrastructure. We don't need much, but I mean, it's going to be decent. Also, another corrupted image, but doesn't matter. Here's like a logo of the European Union. It's appropriate, isn't it? Huh? In the strategy, you will also find like a planned alignment with the AI Act, with the European AI Act. It's also planned under the national reform agenda, but unfortunately, it's already lagging behind. So we should have this draft published a long time ago. So I mean, we're running late with this law on artificial intelligence, and that's me. So I've been advocating for a national program to improve support for Serbian language. You'll know these large language models. For instance, when you use Whisper for Belgrade Serbian, it works fine. But if you are speaking like from Vranje or Pirot, Whisper will break, you know, like it doesn't understand this flavor of Serbian language. So we need to basically produce these kind of data which correct large language models and other models for synthesizing Serbian or used for subtitling, etc. And I'm actively lobbying for this. I'm actively lobbying government. So I mean, something may happen on this front, but I mean, you know, I don't, you know, believe it until I see it. And of course, not only like adopted, but also funded. And this is really important because basically, you know, Serbian is often not supported explicitly in, you know, large language models. If you're, for instance, using Meta's or Apple's VR devices, you must switch to English. Like my kids, like they are conversing with Siri in English as well, because Serbian is not supported. So we need to prepare data and basically release data that are used for training these models for Serbian. And I would say that we also have a few things that we will need looking forward that we don't have now. And also, while we're enjoying this corrupted picture, for whatever reason, I will just briefly tell you what these things are that we don't have and that we will need. So the first thing is we need, again, strong political support for this. This won't happen without it because it requires funding, it requires legal changes, it requires this kind of momentum that we currently just don't have. The second thing is we need this basic infrastructure, particularly for applying AI in the public sector. We also need expertise for applying AI. People usually think about AI as a cherry on top, like you pay a ChatGPT license. But the reality is that you need to integrate it into processes and to integrate AI into the software that basically people use every day. And, you know, things are not happening. I mean, it requires a lot of work to reimagine processes with AI capabilities in mind. And finally, we need to prepare for the consequences of AI, you know, because AI is changing, you know, work patterns, communication patterns, the sphere of, like a public sphere, information sphere, and, you know, someone should track that, right? And like adapt for this, plan for this. And we don't have this kind of monitoring. So, I mean, we should have this kind of like a deeper monitoring. And this monitoring usually happens within those regulatory agencies, like sector agencies. And we need to, like, you know, strengthen these agencies, you know, for them to be able to, like, monitor these changes, track these changes, and propose adaptation measures. So I think that, you know, we will definitely need these things. We will, of course, need a lot of other things, you know, like, but I mean, those are some of the things that I wanted to highlight. And that's basically it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Slobodan, for this great intro into our next workshop, especially about these monitoring trends, what's missing, where is civil society input, where is the academic input, where is the, you know,
do we have public discussions?
Yes, that's exactly why I'm here, to give anyone a mic and opportunity to ask a question.
Hi, I'm Sergey. Like you told about mostly like something like that is related to government activities, like this institute
Yes.
and so on. But how is like the situation with cooperation with industry? I mean, for example, like this law about like testing self-driving cars in Serbia, is it like somehow related to Rivian? Or not, and like now we know that it's like already like the R&D of Perplexity is in Belgrade. So like, and any other examples, and how do you like if there is cooperation with such industry players?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a cooperation with Yandex as well. Yeah. So Yandex on autonomous driving, and I mean, I haven't been involved in these talks, but I would presume with Rivian as well. There are also activities of an institution called Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is talking with the pharma sector basically and biotech sector around changing the laws within the health sector to enable the use of big data for like innovative therapies and innovative devices, the use of artificial intelligence, etc. It has a lot of like, ethical considerations, anonymization issues, but they're discussing it, and there's some movement in this area. But in my point of view, not as, I mean, it should be much wider. And the problem currently, as I see it, is that we don't have anymore this kind of obvious address. Because like 2 years ago, you had like a person within the Prime Minister's office that you could call and say, like, let's have a meeting, let's talk about autonomous driving, blah, 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 but you don't have this person anymore. So that's off the agenda now. Now other things are on the agenda. So that's a problem. But if you want to progress in AI, this will have to change.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was very insightful and very, very interesting. I have 2 questions. So first, you were talking about implementation of AI in all spheres of public administration. Is there, in Europe at least, is there a role model that we can see how it actually works in a good way? And the second question concerning the French donation and these 1,000 GPUs that are in the National Data Center, how you said that is not a lot in comparison with companies. How is it in comparison with countries of Serbians' size? So is it better or worse than Hungary, Croatia, Romania, and so on? Thank you so much.
Okay, so the first question on the role models. I mean, no one got this right on all fronts. For instance, I also often mention Estonia because Estonia has been, for instance, investing a smaller amount of funds, like for instance, 1 million per year or maybe even more for the past like 10 or 15 years in data sets. So now they reap the benefits of it. They have much better support for Estonian language in the like AI models. So they can do a lot of things. And they already started doing a lot of things. I also like the case of like the UK, where they focused on like working in the open, like working with the community, making this kind of like a human touch of AI, not just like doing it like in an industrial manner. But you will not find many countries where they just embedded AI across the public sector, because it's a hard thing. I personally think that when I hear a loan for AI, I read it in my mind as a loan for digitalization of public administration, because that's what it is. Like, if you don't just like put AI on top, you need to rework the processes to like reimagine the administrative process. Let's say like issuing of a driving license. You need to reconsider now that we have AI, how this process should now look like, whether we need it at all, etc. So this requires like full institutional support from the head of the institution, support from all the teams in the institution, funding, sustainability, blah, blah, blah. So it's not just, you cannot have like a project for like AI. It's a full, transformation with AI in mind. And of course, those things often fail in the administration because, you need to, for any transformation, you need like this systemic approach and like clear support, institutional support. And this is why I cannot tell you that, anyone did really great. You have some like isolated examples where they're like, compact enough, like Singapore, for instance, or, I don't know, maybe probably South Korea. But no one actually nailed it on all fronts. And the loans are not donations. So we are paying for all this. These are just loans. So basically, they are giving us credit. And those 1,000 GPUs will be a lot for any country of the size of Serbia. You don't have anything like that in the region, like wider region. You have some new AI factories now currently built around Europe, but those are pan-European projects. The fact that you have a supercomputer in Greece or Rome, it's not only for Italy, it's for a wider European community. But you won't find many places with a huge GPU power. And I would say for Serbia, those 1,000 are good for starters, good to begin with, because currently we don't have anything with any model which would use those 1,000. So I mean. For starters, it's good, but we will see.
Thank you so much. Okay. 1,000 GPUs. Is there a detailed specification how they will be used? What will be run on them?
Yeah. So well, I don't know. I mean. Probably there are no specifications currently, but I can tell you what I think that makes sense. So currently, the entire capacity of those chips which are currently installed in Kragujevac are used for training. So you can, as a scientific institution, as a government institution, as a startup, you can apply to get an account there and basically use it for free. So it's basically given for free to whoever knows how to use it. And the entire capacity is used only for model training. But a portion of those 1,000 GPUs will have to be set aside for inference, for basically executing models. And the fact that we don't have a dedicated inference capacity currently speaks volumes. So for instance, it speaks to the fact that we don't have any larger AI deployment in production. Because if we had any large AI deployment in production, we would need to have an inference resource for that. And one other thing which I think is also important, purchasing this kind of infrastructure is really expensive. And it makes sense for many institutions to pool their resources and basically purchase one cluster that will be used by many institutions. It doesn't make sense for each institution like the Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Finance, for them to purchase individually their own clusters. It just costs too much money.
So could they potentially be used to identify people from the pictures?
Yeah.
And
I mean, you don't need that kind of advanced GPU infrastructure to do that. You can do it, for computer vision. You usually need models don't require that kind of strong GPU power. So I mean, you already have those cameras. Philip's there. Hi, Philip. You already have 1,000 cameras in Serbia which are capable of tracking people on video. I don't know if that is used in Serbia. I hope not, but probably I'm wrong. So I mean, but of course you can use a large GPU capacity for all nefarious purposes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For processing the and getting the intel from surveillance And my question is, are there any regulations or plans or ways how to prevent the government using this for the means that potentially breaks the human rights and
I
these
count
things?
on the civil society, shared defense, all of us, you know, to do this kind of watchdog function. And of course, there are plans for the AI Act, but I mean, it's being delayed. So it's a part of a larger like socio-political situation in Serbia. You know,
So-
my UN faith doesn't allow me to go into details on that currently, but I'm with the blue helmets, you know. So
It's a powerful tool that needs to be used with caution.
absolutely.
Thank you.
So, do you know if there's any transparency on how these GPUs are used? Like, can citizens check, like, with some FOIA or something, like, who's using this for what? Is there a list? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I know people who are basically administrating this. So, I mean, I've been asking them these questions, you know, for the practical reasons, like, is anyone using it? Like, is it underutilized, overutilized? What are you using it for? I also know some people who train some models in Kragujevac. So I know that some really useful things have been trained on this, and they're publicly available on Hugging Face, for instance, for processing Serbian text and blah, blah, blah. For the most part, like, I don't know, a huge part of the usage of these resources currently is for the academic research and for the startups. So they're not used, to the best of my knowledge, for like, you know, government uses or anything like that. And this information should be like public knowledge. Why not?
But is it also like local startups, or it can be like, you know, like foreign corporate? You know,
I would
like,
encourage you to try the Freedom of Information request to the Office for IT and e-Government. I mean, I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be like a public
Is it
knowledge.
rentable? Like, if you have this 1,000 GPUs, because I don't know how much is this. Like, can government say like, okay, nobody's using this, we will just rent them out to other AI companies in the world?
It is rentable. I think that, I mean, you know, as time moves on, you know, there will be use for this. So I think that those will be used. I know that the government is like considering, you know, how to potentially monetize this as well. But, you know, I'm skeptical about the potential for monetization. You know, it's probably going to be used for, like, you know, public AI.
No, I mean, that would be good. I just
But
wouldn't love to, you know, like have it rented to Meta or whatever, you know.
There are mechanisms for commercializing it, definitely. Because, for instance, in Kragujevac, if you're a company, you can rent space in government data center, which is an excellent facility. And government formed a company called Data Cloud Technology DEO, which is owned by the government, but they can issue invoices basically. So I mean, they could operationalize those GPUs in the same manner. So you approach Data Cloud Technology, you say, I want, I don't know, to use this for whatever, and they charge you for this.
So it's a government company with limited liability. Very interesting.
Yeah, limited. I mean, they wouldn't be able to pay like, you know, those kinds of engineers other way. So I mean, it makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Slobodan. A huge round of applause for Slobodan.
Thank you.